racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Irvin and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but Romo, but Bennings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream? God bless football.
From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in. Fourth and goal, or pin back at your 30. Time to prove you're a hot shot. Let's attack. Oh, your name is Brandon Staley. Unleash some hell and go for gold. Yeah. A few yards to gain. Does your QB have the guts? Will you just punt or throw it up to Cooper Cup? Say it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in.
Yeah! One play at a time, boys. One play at a time. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in.
All in. All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. Jets. Why the Steve? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Greetings to all. Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and
We are always thrilled to see this man's face. He is doing kind things with the animal kingdom at all times. So let's start with him where we left off with Cody, because I want to get his assessment on what it is that we were talking about, how he feels, a ruling from him on the proper way to treat a dog when training a dog, how firm to be with a dog. Tell Ron Magill the sound that you like to make to train flying Charlie, untrained Charlie,
Jumping Charlie, yeah.
eats couches Charlie.
Right. When my dog does wrong, such as I catch him red-handed with one of my vintage record albums in his mouth, I make the following sound. Bay. And he immediately drops the album. A wash of guilt comes over his face, and he slinks away.
He does it 10 minutes later.
Yes, he
Well,
does.
yes.
But he does it.
Right.
He does
doesn't
it.
have a great
Right.
memory.
Again, though, but it's not because he's scared. Again, it's just there's that guy again, and he's creepy, and he's making that sound. It's not a deterrent in any way. It's just the weirdest thing I, as a dog, have ever seen.
That's right, but it works for that instant.
But the sound correlates with a negative response, and that's what the dog is reading. As long as he's consistent with the sound, he could go yippee. And as long as it correlates with a negative response, to him, yippee is not a celebration. To him, yippee is, uh-oh, I screwed up. So as long as consistency has everything to do with properly training a dog.
Thank you.
Well, how did it work for you, though? Because I would imagine that you would be very gentle. I would imagine that you wouldn't do a lot of losing of patience with animals.
No, I don't lose patience. I speak firmly. I never hit the dog, ever do that. A lot of times, just ignoring an animal, a firm no, and walking away from the animal like a dog is a negative response, because dogs, they crave that companionship, you see. So they can sense that, and you need to be negative about that. I never, ever advocate hitting an animal, ever. And with your hand, with a newspaper, whatever, nothing. Never hit an animal that way. That is not a way to train an animal. You need to be firm, consistent, and the negative response would be just to absolutely disassociate yourself from the animal, walk away, make sure it's not rewarded in any way. That's the best way. Listen, while I'm on the air here, I've got to do something that has to be done. And that is, I have to formally apologize to Stugots.
Yep.
I have heard from reliable sources that Stugotz was not lying to me when he said that a snake was coming into his garage, was halfway in, halfway out, and he lowered the door on it. Now, I must confess, I insinuated that he was lying to me, that he was making it up, and he was not, because credible people have come forward. Stugotz, I am profoundly apologetic, profoundly sorry for insinuating that you were a fantasy creating liar. So on that note,
No.
I will then say that snake was the dumbest effing snake on the planet.
Yeah, I'm still a liar. I mean, but that was the one time I got you where I was actually telling the truth, and the credible source was my wife.
But was the snake sick? Was the snake? You're saying it wouldn't have ever happened. That a snake would never be so dumb.
I don't know of any snake that would have
Yeah,
ever
Ron,
done
was the
that.
snake sick?
It could have been sick. It could have been sick. It could have been venomized. It could have already been traumatized. But for a snake to remain in one place as a garage door is coming down, making all the sound and vibrating it's unheard of. The snake must have gone into coma, must have seen Stugotz and just become comatose for some reason.
Or Stugotz could have an exceptionally quiet garage closer.
Right.
Is that not one of the possibilities?
Kudos on the creativity, Stu.
That is not a possibility, Dan.
Yeah.
Just a snake can actually sense the vibrations of you walking on the ground. So
Yeah.
garage door coming down, trust me, is not going to be is going to be detected by a snake unless it's a really stupid or a snake that's already on its deathbed.
Could the snake have been napping?
No.
No, the snake was
not
moving.
nap,
Yeah.
and then halfway into a garage and halfway out of a garage. The fact that listen, there was something wrong with that snake, but the fact is, listen, let's not make any excuses here. In this case, Stugotz was telling the truth.
Yep.
I called him a liar. I apologize.
Ron, if we were going through the senses in the animal kingdom, all of the senses, not just some of them, what are the senses that you're most amazed by as you talk about, like, for example, a snake being able to feel vibrations?
Sure, I mean that's absolutely one of them. You know, a snake, again, the majority of its body is in contact with the ground. It can feel those vibrations amazingly well. But the other sense, the heat sensors of snakes. You know, snakes have little pits on the roof of their mouth and sometimes around their mouth that can sense the difference between the outdoor and the body heat of, let's say, a mouse or any kind of warm-blooded animal. They can detect that, and they can detect it if the mouse has been walking, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes ago, walked along this trail. It leaves a little heat pad. If you saw an infrared film of a warm-blooded animal walking through the forest, you'd see the footprints it leaves behind. They said, actually, that tiny little heat difference, a snake can detect that and track an animal down that way. That's freaking amazing.
Ron, I'm wondering, is there an animal anywhere in the animal kingdom that is like Tua? And what I mean by that is the animal's a killer, but it kills you with kindness, with a smile.
I don't know of any animal that kills with a smile, Stugots.
Really? But you agree Tua is a killer, right? With a smile?
I'm really, have become very, very impressed with his skills. Not as much as skills, but his level-headedness.
Hold on a second. Hold on. First Take is doing so much better of a show than us right now. What is Michael Irvin screaming about?
I just saw Michael Irvin lick each individual finger.
Oh, wow.
What is he screaming
Playmaker.
about? He just yelled at Keyshawn Johnson. Was it about Keyshawn Johnson saying that Urban Meyer should get all the money in the world to be at Nebraska?
The lower third is talking about the Cowboys right now, so we're seeing a crazy impassioned Michael Irvin. Is there any other kind?
Yeah, really.
Licking his fingers. He's having a day, Michael, because Stephen A. usually celebrates the Cowboys losing, but the Cowboys won last night, so Irvin's having his day.
If you've noticed, Michael Irvin has ditched the glasses. People notice this on their coverage, and he posted, he's like, I left him at the hotel. Bro, I can't see shit.
Well, this is quality television. We don't need to have Keyshawn there because Michael Irvin now. This is all about 2 hours of making Stephen A. eat it, right? Like this is what we've distilled coverage down to. Skip Bayless is a Cowboys fan, and Stephen A. Smith is against the Cowboys. And Michael Irvin is going to be great at this part, right? He's just going to yell at Stephen A. for 2 hours, and Stephen A. is going to be soap opera actor.
Dude, I could hear him, and it's on mute right
Exactly.
now. He's been going
for it.
off.
He is perfect for it. He's just gonna. Cowboy fans are gonna make the ratings
preaching
on
a
this.
sermon.
He's screaming at him.
You had tell me any of you caught him licking each individual finger. That's what really drew my attention right now. He is shouting at the top of his lungs. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this. He just stopped talking. He was talking the entire time.
Yeah, but now he's
reference
back.
to
He's
it.
going again.
Oh my God!
Look at
He
him.
picked it right back.
Yeah,
False
yeah.
ending.
Yes, Stephen A.
Like 8
Smith's
minutes.
job is to
They're
just...
having a hard time keeping him in the frame.
Yes, he jumped up.
He's singing right now. I think he's
Yes,
singing.
he's-
person's doing
Oh, the fake
He's
Michael
doing
Irvin is here. Yes, this is...
That's what you're missing.
The TV is muted and I can hear him.
Okay.
Key. Ha, Bay.
It's still going.
Bay.
Suffice to say, he's excited about Monday night's result.
Ron, which is the most difficult animal to train?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I mean, some people will say that it's domestic cat because they're so individual and so have a mind of their own, but I disagree. I think domestic cats can be trained pretty effectively. It's all relative to the level of intelligence of an animal. I mean, it's hard to train a roach. I mean, that would be hard to train.
I was sort of specifically referring to zoo animals. I presume, like in terms of the work that you guys do at the zoo, is there a lot of difficulty with animals?
I think it's a lot less difficult than people think. I mean, we've got our crocodiles trained here. They're trained to go to certain points and to react in a certain way. So, here's an animal that has the size, a brain the size of a walnut, and we can train it to do things that most people can train their dogs to do. So I think animals have a lot more intelligence than many times we give them credit for, which is why I always cringe when I hear LeBatard call something dumb or stupid.
I'm hearing and reading reports that Michael Irvin, first take started at 10, went off.
Paper
They're bringing
towels.
They're bringing toilet
towels.
paper right now. He's
Oh my God.
He is patting his face down with a huge roll of paper towels that he went off without anyone else talking for 11 straight minutes.
Wow. It's a record.
Well, this is Michael Irvin's star turn. He has seen what J.J. Redick and Mad Dog have done with this space. And after the Cowboys, Michael Irvin, dude, he's got
a washcloth.
He's got 30 years on TV now, 20 years on TV. Like keeping the Dallas brand alive when it hasn't been any good since Michael Irvin.
Not always on it.
Well, there's that. Let's go back. Mike, do you have any of the sound from Michael Irvin coming through here so they can see how dead on your impersonation is? Now, you were doing...
Well, my impersonation is Michael Irvin hosting on WQAM.
With Kevin Kiley.
Kevin
Kiley.
That one's
Kiley.
especially
Yeah.
niche. Yeah.
Do we have any sound, though, of Michael Irvin coming in here when he was in this 11-minute place where he could rev up to the preacher high and captivate for 11? Do you know how long 11 televised minutes is?
They also seem to be in the LA studio today, so it's 7 a.m. where he is.
When I got it, it took me a little while to get it. I got some Lewinsky on mine because I went right home touching my baby in it. She said, "No, we're not." I said, "Yes, we are."
You're not getting into this bed. You're not getting into this bed with this jacket
Yes,
on.
I am.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yes, we did.
All right, there you go. That is a startling story, but okay.
That's wearing the Hall of Fame jacket while having sex, being
Maybe.
uncomfortably
Fellatio.
Michael Irvin.
Yeah, referring to fellatio as Lewinsky.
Hey, on a side note, did anybody ever get any sound of Dorsey? I wanted sound of that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I would love to have heard that sound.
Oh,
Expletive deleted. Wow.
Greg, Ron, what are the animals doing with this storm that's coming? Are they sticking around or have they started to kind of flee the area?
Well, it's a good question because I'll tell you this. I remember during Hurricane Andrew, 12 hours before that storm hit here, there wasn't a native animal to be found around the zoo. No squirrels, no blue jays, no ibis, nothing. It was all gone, even though it was a beautiful day, fluffy white clouds, blue skies. So along that northwestern coast of Florida, I'd be paying very close attention to the wildlife there, the wading birds and such. Are they staying in place? Are they moving out? If they start moving out, guys, get ready because you're about to get your world rocked.
Well, I have been remiss here, Ron, and I don't know, you've talked to us before about Hurricane Andrew and how much damage it did at the Miami Zoo, and we're in the middle right now of Miami being, South Florida basically being the only thing that's not in the hurricane cone, and Tampa, it seems, is heading for something unspeakably devastating, because if this direct hits on Tampa, I don't think people realize what 10 feet of seawater is going to do to a place.
especially Tampa, because unlike, Zoo Miami, we're fairly far inland. Tampa, the Tampa Aquarium, Lowry Park, those are right against the coast there. And that could be just horrific the way that Tampa Bay is structured. The storm surge alone could be horrific. I'm really feeling for my friends up there. I've got a lot of friends that are working at those two incredible facilities, and I'm praying for them, man. I'm praying that something is not as bad as what it looks like, because I can tell you right now, this could be catastrophic. Not to mention, I don't even know what's going to have happened in Cuba, because I was in Cuba a couple of years ago in Pinar del Rio and Havana, and that eye went right over there. And I can tell you that area was already compromised. I can't imagine the devastation of that storm going over there, what's happening there. I'm afraid to hear the reports out of Cuba.
What do you imagine that the Tampa Zoo's doing right now, like to prepare for the worst?
They are pretty much preparing for flooding more than anything. They're trying to get every animal they can up into higher elevations. They're taking their birds, for instance, they're trying to secure them in secure structures. The smaller animals, small mammals being secured in secure structures. I'm telling you, we think about hurricane, we think about the wind. The wind can be devastating, absolutely. But the fear for the aquarium, the fear for the zoo is that storm surge. If that water goes in and it starts, infiltrating their water systems and floods, a lot of animals, they have nowhere to go to, and they'll drown. I mean, that's one of the reasons we moved our zoo inland here to Zoo Miami from the old Crandon Park Zoo, because back in, I think it was 1962, Hurricane Camille killed hundreds of animals, not from wind, but that Key Biscayne got flooded. They drowned. And that's a big, big issue.
Ron, ahead of Hurricane Andrew back in '92, there was a very memorable photo in the Miami Herald about Zoo Miami storing dozens of flamingos in a zoo bathroom to protect them.
It's one of the best photos he's ever taken, and he's told us before. I don't know, is that for sale, Ron? Because it's one of the photos that you're proudest of.
Yeah, and I get asked if it's for sale all the time. I am going to make it for sale. I'm going to get with you guys about that, and we're going to make it available to listeners if they want it, because it is an iconic photograph. I remember. And it'll never happen again, because now we built a separate structure just for the flamingos, so they'll never be in the bathroom again. But it was a last-ditch effort to save those animals' lives, and in fact, in hindsight, it did.
Well, I'm just wondering, Ron, in with the Tampa Zoo in mind, how does a zoo protect animals when you're going to get a Category 4 or something giving you a pretty direct hit? What do you do with the larger animals? How do you protect them?
The bottom line is this, Greg. Most of those larger animals have what we call night houses. There are enclosures that are built to withstand the strength of the animal. Poured concrete, welded metal, basically strong enough to withstand the strength of the animal, and therefore they are strong enough to withstand the strength of the hurricane. That's what happened here in Hurricane Andrew. All of our dangerous animals, the lions, the bears, the great apes, the tigers, they all go into these structures that they go into every evening, and those structures were strong enough to withstand the power of the winds of the hurricane. And fortunately, like I said, we are very high in our altitude here as far as above sea level, as far as Miami goes, so we didn't have that kind of flooding issue. We're going to have flooding issues here with this storm. We're getting torrential rain here right now, and we're going to have to monitor this. That's why we're closed today and tomorrow, because for those who've been to the zoo, we have moated exhibits, and the moats have water in them. But if the water level rises too much, the animal can just swim across and get out. So there'll be several animals that my suspicion will be off exhibit for several days until that water level lowers.
Ron, I don't think anyone disputes that it's an incredible photo, but why would I want a photo of flamingos in a bathroom?
I don't know. Why don't you ask the 100 other people that have paid me thousands of dollars for it?
But I see it on Google right now. I could just print it.
I just printed 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just Google image, flamingos bathroom, send it to Walgreens.
Flimsy
$3 maybe.
I had
2022, I could just go to CVS.
Print one beautifully. Did freaking Whittingham go print it off the internet? Look at that.
Yeah, those are mine.
Oh, look, there it is. Wow.
Look,
Yeah.
We can, you get a nice color printer.
Thousands
of
dollars.
I gotta be honest, it looks even better in black and white than in color, because it looks from a different time.
For a whopping 79 cents, you could have color.
Yeah. Whittingham just farted out 9 of them. Your great artwork.
You guys done?
Ron, good talking to you. Thank you.
The people that paid thousands of dollars know about Google.
Tell them I have a bridge.
Ron, thank you. He is so done with us.
So mad.
The beleaguered smile under the mustache. An ambassador.
just gonna start passing him out in the
ambassador
studio.
for the zoo.
Take one and
and-
Jesus
and-
Christmas, you guys
Yes,
suck.
pass them
You know
around.
that?
I might too, Mike.
Pass them around. Some of the best artwork. All right. Stugots would like two
Mine in a
to
frame.
leave behind here on his computer and never think about again.
Copyright infringement is what that's
It's
called.
wrong.
I'll be
It's
done.
wrong.
Right, it is.
Ron, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
photograph. Don't
Lawsuit.
let them.
Everyone's doing it.
Don't let them make you less of an artist. You're a wonderful photographer, and what you do for the animals is exceedingly kind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
All right, you guys are unrelenting assholes.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stafford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What'd you say? Tom Brady, always down. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip, holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs.
Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beers, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron. Winner go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you.
Big Ben's last game, Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer. I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the
The playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye. Even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end. Mantles taken. Last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like
playoffs, the playoffs. Heavy is the head, that wears the crowd. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. The playoffs, it's the playoffs. Never is afraid, eyes in his face, the chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs. It's the playoffs, the playoffs, it's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's been
First round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all. The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
The Jets. The Jets. Why this team?
Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
I'm assuming that the people listening to this or watching it on YouTube know that what appears to be headed toward the west coast of Florida is a super scary thing that is gonna like Tampa has grown a lot in many, many years without a lot of people doing the math on how all this marshland down here is affected by flooding and climate change. And it looks like Tampa is going to be hit with something unspeakable in a place that is being evacuated right now in Florida and a place that's going to hurt. And when you talk about 10 feet of flash flooding, when you're talking about 10 feet of waves, you're talking about changing, knocking down buildings and stuff with flash flood.
There's a lot of old construction in Tampa Bay. They haven't had to deal with a direct hit in a lifetime. This is a once-in-a-lifetime storm if the projections hold true. If it's a direct hit, I fear for that area in the west coast of Florida in a big, big way because it's never really been a true fear of theirs. Usually whatever ends up hitting them is a remnant or it's never a direct. This is going to be bad if the models hold.
They had a bad hurricane a few years ago that came from inland, though. They
had one that went up the spine of Florida, and they were fine for it. If this matching with the tide, I mean, keep in mind it's on a bay, and there's a lot that has been built along that bay. It could be catastrophic. I'm really worried for all the people there. I know a lot of people have evacuated. They've shown video of traffic. I say good. Because this could potentially be very bad. There's a lot of low-lying areas and a lot of people that have never really had to consider what their lives might look like if impacted directly by a major storm like this.
I wonder if even the bridge linking Tampa and St. Petersburg might be in some jeopardy. I assume
they're worried about it.
Yeah, I mean that would be catastrophic.
I don't believe that the people listening to this, if these models hold, understand what this storm hitting this place is. This is not, they had a storm a few years ago, Stugots. This is not that at all.
No, I was making the point that Irma started here. It was bad, but it came inland. It came in from a different direction than this one.
It went up the spine of Florida.
Right.
I would not.
This is going to be worse.
Would not be that worried. Like since Andrew, we've dealt with Cat 2s, Cat 3s, direct, and near directs, and we have a whole bunch of construction that has been ready and sustain these types of things that have been wiped out since the last major storm. So Miami is a little bit more prepared despite the bad infrastructure downtown. In inland areas, they're a little bit more prepared for this. Tampa, you go there, the history, you feel it. There's a lot of old places over there that have stood because they've never had to deal with a storm like this. I'm really worried. I have 2 trips coming up to Tampa in the next couple of weeks, and if this is a direct hit, I fear there's going to be no reason to go. I think it's going to be a disaster right now. I fear the absolute worst, and my hopes and prayers are with everybody that is over there because it could be very
Don't
bad.
you have people? Weren't you headed to Tampa
was
this
going up
week,
there.
and now Tampa's coming to you because people are coming to Miami? Miami's South Florida is one of the few places outside of any cone, and we're going to get
Yeah,
flooding too.
We're presently under a tornado watch right now, but yeah, the people that I was supposed to stay with in Tampa on Sunday are now
They're
staying-
driving here?
They're now staying with me.
Wait, so I might be able to go to Bucks Chiefs Sunday?
No, you're not going to Bucks Chiefs. I'm not allowing that. As a Bucks Chiefs ticket holder, you should not be allowed to go.
You guys all want to go?
Because the contingency plan,
Group outing?
Company outing.
the contingency
plan? I wanna hear this.
The contingency plan. I know the Bucks are in town practicing. That's a huge Sunday nighter. If we can, I don't want to be so cursed with it. Like that, I'm very worried about Tampa right now. But there is a massive Sunday night football game that was guaranteed to do bananas ratings between the Chiefs and Bucks. Right now, the Bucks are practicing in South Florida. I think the contingency plan for that game, should they play it, because if you have a catastrophic event, maybe they just realize that it's in poor taste to have that game. But the backup plan is Hard Rock Stadium. The Dolphins are playing away on Thursday. The Hurricanes are on a bye week. It has the infrastructure, and you can kind of microwave a game over there. I don't know what that means for the tickets. I certainly, not that it's important. I don't know what that means for my tickets and Raymond James right now. I am really worried that this could be devastating. Anybody that's been to Tampa a couple of times knows that they're not ready for this.
Well, because we in Miami, we obviously have Because Miami that airs on the show on Fridays, and we make fun of our lack of infrastructure. But as Ron Magill pointed out, a fair bit of Miami and South Florida is inland. There is obviously massive construction on the beach and along water, and waterfront property is massive, but there is still a degree of, you have the Everglades, you have things that can sort of offset things in South Florida. So much of Tampa and so much of St. Petersburg is built along the water. They sort of built a city around water, as opposed to this is just a strip of land.
And ignored, like Miami continues to do, ignores why nobody ever built there before. The reasons that you were able to get that real estate that is now so expensive is at least because if a storm like this comes, this stuff, none of this stuff is even going to be insurable a few years from now with the way the earth is changing and these storms keep getting worse.
Right, and I know because Miami covers how bad the infrastructure is, and certainly downtown there are places that still have old 20th century plumbing and all that, and you'll see water seep through limestone. But the new buildings that are going up have major wind events in mind, because it's reality here. There isn't a single hurricane season that comes and goes without Miami being in some sort of cone at one point. Tampa, largely, it'll probably go through the other side of Florida, and by the time it gets here, it'll be a little weaker. Or we'll get the back end of a storm that's on its way up to parts of Louisiana or the Panhandle. In my lifetime, there's never been a direct hit towards Tampa with a major hurricane. It's kind of been out of sight, out of mind. There's a lot of people there without shutters. There's a lot of people that certainly without impact windows. It's not a real part of everyday hurricane season life for them.
It's not just the storm; it's what's after it. It's the flooding that's coming to those. They're going to be underwater.
It's the surge,
and the tides, the tides that are going to be affecting the Bay Area already
We're in the
as
middle
the
of
storm.
King Tide.
As the storm approaches,
Even worse, King Tide. For those of you who don't know, this is the water's already higher than it needs to be. This is when I know we've lamented that the meteorologists Stugots are all terrorists. I have seen.
Well, just Phil Farrow.
I've watched the last couple of days. These guys are giddy because they're amazed. They've been studying all their lives and they know what comes this way. And they're fascinated by the way the currents and the pressures mesh. But they also know, get the hell out of Tampa. Right now, if you're doing it right now, you're bordering on too late because you need to get out before the rain hits.
There is one major entertainment district in Tampa, really, and it's that Riverwalk. It's where the Tampa Bay Lightning play, and all of it is on the bay. And if the tide is what they say it is, in a Category 3 or above, or even it doesn't even take a Category 3 with that kind of tide.
Well, Mike, they're saying because it's moving so slowly that it's picking up
stay there.
steam. Right, it's going to stay there. It's
gonna
going to sit right over Tampa for a while.
This is a very serious situation right now. It's going to have real life ramifications. If it hits that area, if it's a direct hit in that entertainment area, it's going to affect the Tampa Bay Lightning. Not that that's the most important thing, but there's a bunch of ramifications that go with this.
It is the most important thing. The Tampa Bay Lightning is the most important thing.
Well, in the
you need to get it straight.
No,
you need to understand. I understand the perspective. I know you're not. You're expressing with appropriately somber tones what it is that heads this way.
Yeah,
so,
I like to banter Tampa Bay Lightning, but I think I've been to Tampa more than any other U.S. city. I enjoy my time there. Like I said, I was going to see Turnstile up there in a couple of weeks.
Bona fides.
I have a lot of friends
Tampa
up there.
Bona fides.
No, I love going to Tampa, and every time I'm up there, I notice the older infrastructure and how it's like an old Florida town. And I'm really worried about how it'll hold up in the face of this. It's a bad situation.
Brady's going to be fine, though, right?
I mean, again, I don't think that game gets played. If the models hold, it would be a bad look for the NFL to have that game play out.
Well, that's going to get canceled in the next couple of days. If this is headed the place that it's headed, obviously
there are a lot of games though.
They're
saying college football, Clemson game could be canceled.
But,
this
by the time it goes up the Eastern
Seaboard, you really do, given the size of what it is that we're talking about and how long it's going to stay there, and it's going to be weeks of suffering wherever it hits. Like I do think we need to probably back off on how it affects sports, because it seems pretty obvious a calamity is coming this way that would be Katrina-ish because of how, again, it's sped up in strength to just sit there in the worst possible place at the worst possible time on where the king tides are. It is a disaster, even if it's just a Category 3 and not a 5, as these things go from 80 to 130 faster than we've ever seen them. It's a disaster for that area. Outside of Louisiana, I can't think of a lot of worse areas for it to swamp, because there were things not built on those shores for a long time and people not living there for very good reason.
Well, there's plenty of places in Seminole Heights that feel like toilet bowls a little bit. They just go into the earth, and there's a lot of new construction that's right on the bay, very expensive homes that are literally steps from the ocean right now. I really hope this thing jogs or suffers some sort of shear to weaken it, or maybe the tide lowers it, because right now there is nothing good in these advisories.
And I saw a video yesterday of where the seawall is relative to the current water level, and there's only about 2 feet separating.
It's a
them.
joke, the seawall.
No, it's insane. And so you have a forecast 5 to 10 foot storm surge. It's going well over that seawall, and I saw a video of a hospital trying to prepare and put things up, and they have contingency plans in place, but they all feel so useless at this point.
I don't feel like I have it wrong. You correct me given what it is that we're talking about here. I don't think I have it wrong when I say, so that people understand looks like it's about to hit Tampa, it's not flash flooding. It's the ocean just going as far inland as it can before it gets to one of the last safe spaces, which is Orlando. Like, Orlando's supposed to be one of the safest places on earth from whatever's happening in your town. Fires, drought, tornadoes, whatever it is.
Yeah, very inland. Very inland, and with all these infrastructures that are a little bit newer because the city's growing exponentially. And I know a lot of people from Tampa have migrated over to Orlando. Some have family and have come down here because we're outside the cone right now, even though our weather's been kind of crap. Make no mistake about it. Well, like when you draw comparisons to Katrina, which the levees broke and everybody realized how poorly designed that city was after the fact, and there were a lot of stern warnings beforehand from people that were kind of perceived as kooks, and it wasn't a reality until it actually happened. No one ever really considered how susceptible Tampa was, because never in our lifetimes have they been in the dead center of a cone. It's happening right now, and match that up with King Tide and their older infrastructure and these older homes that haven't had to stand up to winds like this, it's the perfect storm to decimate this area.
I believe, I texted some friends asking if they were, evacuating even from Orlando. I believe you have the possibility here, without being a terrorist about these things, and as someone who has lived with these storms for 35 years, you're looking at Tampa feeling erased
It could be.
It's
It
sort
seems
of
like
the ocean coming over a town. When you're talking about 10-foot waves, you're talking about the ocean just won't be held back by a seawall or anything else before it swallows a piece of Tampa.
Watching the Weather Channel last night, and first off, if you're in Tampa, you really should leave. Like, I feel terrible for you, but you have to leave. You should leave. Like, it drives me crazy that people want to stay by their house. It really does. If
Well,
Jim
Tari, some people can't leave. Some people can't. Stugots.
If you can, then leave. If Jim Cantor tells you to leave, it's time to leave.
Some people can't leave. Some people need help leaving. Some people don't have the ability to just leave.
Totally fair. But this is it doesn't matter 3, 4, 5. It's a storm that's going to sit over Tampa if it has a direct hit for a day, maybe 2 days.
Yeah, that's the part with nothing with the part of it. When you talk about what this storm is, it's the staying there that makes it as bad as anything. I don't know how to segue from that into anything.
The Dolphins are ranked number 1 in ESPN's power rankings.
ESPN's?
That's right.
Oh, my God.
ESPN. Jumped up 5 spots.
What?
Yeah.
I'm almost uncomfortable with this.
You're out.
I'm Why are you saying that I'm out? I care more about, way more about the Dolphins than you do.
He cares more than you care.
Pardon me?
I've watched you be bored about Dolphins conversations for the 20 months that I've worked here. What does that mean?
Wow.
He called you a bit of a fraud there.
I mean,
Billy.
I did think you were a Colts fan.
Are they going to win the Super Bowl this year or not?
Yeah, say it.
No, they're not going to
Then
win
you're not. I say
you
they
don't
are.
care.
I say they are. I care more than you.
If they won a playoff game, I
Not
would
enough.
be thrilled.
Not enough.
What do you
Not
mean?
enough.
Greg,
Not
not enough.
enough.
They haven't won one in 20 years.
This is the year.
This is the year.
Dad, you're a respected columnist. What are you doing? Just
Look, I picked the Dolphins number 5 in the entire league in my preseason team rankings.
Yep.
This team is not sneaking up on me.
Day one.
I know they were good.
I'm with Whitty. If you're telling me they got, if
you
they got
all over the place
no,
today.
but I will announce that they're not going to win the Super Bowl. I will announce that.
Okay.
And there need to
What'd
be.
you tell DP over there? What was that situation?
Oh, I think I told him I was all in.
Oh.
I'm so proud of you, man.
Stugots, what's the matter, buddy?
For just one time, 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering to-a-days. It's embracing
That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. It's Hank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop.
They wouldn't dare do one of those nostalgic, pinstripe, glorious Aaron Judge cut-ins, the statuesque real home run hitter from mythology who doesn't need steroids to do it on the NFL. They wouldn't do it to King Sport last night. They will only do it to minor league football. And Stugots, the college football seismic change, I really do want to grapple for a second with my fandom, because yesterday on the show, you pointed out to me, I had been stubborn in my belief all my life. Do not criticize the college athlete. He and she are just out of high school. They're not professionals. It's the illusion of professionalism, but they shouldn't come under the same scrutiny. We don't need to that. What happens with professional contracts in sports, what's unwritten into those contracts is here comes unfair fame and scrutiny. You might not be grown enough to endure it, but don't do it to college kids. It's always been my philosophy. You'll rarely find any history of me saying any UM quarterback was garbage or anything like that, because that must be very hard for college kids or kids that age grappling with any number of things. I've never thought it fair. And yesterday you called me on it by just saying, well, they're pros now, Dan, as I'm talking about Van Dyke falling apart. And I don't know if it's the offense or that's a lot of pressure. I don't know if it's the receivers or, I don't know who's built it at 18, 19 years old for carrying a Heisman campaign or first-round picks. I can't see inside helmets to know what kids are grown enough to endure that. And Stugotz is correcting me, my relationship with this, and he's right. Well, if they're mercenaries now, if I'm looking up and K-State has got the Martinez guy that's talked about in Better Call Saul because he was the Nebraska quarterback, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, why is K-State good? Oh, because they got Martinez. And
Martinez is still roaming around college football?
I don't know if it's
Martinez is good?
Really?
Martinez.
Not only are they getting paid, Dan, some of these guys are 28 years old.
Well, this is the thing I'm telling you. Martinez might as well be a symbol at this point.
I mean, Kenny Pickett I think Kenny Pickett's 32 years old.
But if it's going to be minor league football
Anytime someone tells me the U hasn't been relevant in 20 years, I'm like, they were number 2 in the nation final weekend. Kenny Pickett won that game.
University of Miami's punter is my age.
How am I to change my relationship with some of these things?
You have an NIL deal with Tyler Van Dyke. Like, you specifically are contributing to these people, but I do think that college athletes, while they've always been mercenaries, especially at the elite programs. They've always been getting paid, but now it's public record and there's legal ways to do this.
We have to go through compliance to do all of this stuff. To give away our money to a college team because they're still not actually paying the athletes while signing $8 billion deals as Dabo gets 10-year extensions. And we are covering the cost of what used to be the injustices. Like, they're not sharing the television money with the kids. It's another plan in disguise, and we're the sucker boosters. And our guy's benched. We're paying for the University of Miami.
He deserves to be benched.
From the game. You stop it, dude. Like he's an NIL athlete that your show is endorsing. You're out here fucking ripping him. Like, chill out, dude. Like, he's out there posting the show. I'm sure he feels fucking bad about it. You're out here talking shit. Like, he's 21 years old. Rally around him a little bit.
He's 21 years old.
How would you like it if some fucking asshole went to a microphone and started talking shit about your daughter who struggled in a game? It fucking sucks.
If they do it, Mike, if they do it, they do it. Okay? So I can't say anything because we're paying Tyler Van Dyke. Get the hell out of here.
You wouldn't say it. You'd extend a little bit more benefit of the doubt.
Why?
I just think with
because
college
he's our
kids,
athlete? He hasn't played well.
Because he's our athlete.
Yeah, but he hasn't played well. He deserves to be benched.
No, well, I certainly in that game they wanted to spark. They found it a little bit, but I do think with college kids, you don't just hammer them the way that you do with the pros. You try to rally around them. Even when there's shit quarterbacks out there, you extend the benefit of the doubt.
You can rally around Tyler Van Dyke all you want. I don't have to.
I understand
You're a fan of his. You're a fan of the university. You're a fan of Miami.
Right, I understand. But you're writing checks that I have to cash. After this show today, I'm speaking to Tyler Van Dyke's representatives, and I'm trying to figure out how I fucking balance you talking shit about a 21-year-old.
Well, too bad. Play better.
Well, this is the thing, though. As I try to revisit, and now as you get the real stuff in front of you, where Mike cares about this program, he's invested.
I know he does.
But it's not just he's invested everything. It's not just money and time and care sharing and public affection. He's trying to build the program. He's legitimately from inside the machine.
Yes, golden cane.
Trying to strengthen the program, but his propaganda is infecting our ability for Stugotz to just hit the note that's the easiest, which is blame the quarterback because something's gone wrong.
It's my favorite note. Don't take that note away from me.
Changed.
Right.
No,
Mike
I've
has bought-
changed.
Yes.
No, I'm in. I think
But you're yelling at me.
Well, I think now is the time for. Well, obviously, I'm bought into the program with my own money. I'm giving a lot to this program, and I think it's time for buy-in. Like you. That's the position that Dan's always been in. Like, you just drive back up to Jacksonville, you don't deal with the consequences, you just rip and dip. Like,
Right.
it's a little bit, the math has changed a little bit. Our show is supporting a young adult right now. If Destiny Harden struggles throughout the ACC tournament, I'm not going to be out there crushing Destiny Harden. I think the relationship's changed a little bit.
But you're going to the Stugotz wheelhouse of not allowing Stugotz because you're compromised, bought and sold through NIL, trying to do the right thing for athletes and show compassion and humanity. You've run up against the buzzsaw of Stugotz always wins, and he gets to criticize the athlete no matter the age. Bring him some embryos to dine on.
No, and credit to him. He's
excuse me,
fearless.
hold on a sec. We're paying him. I mean, if Tyler Van Dyke wants to pay me, I'll gladly shut up.
Who's right here? Who's right as it gets tense here?
No,
Where's
I'm
the
not.
room?
I'm not right. I'm not right. I'm obviously compromised, but at the same time, it's just like it stands to reason. If you're paying a kid an NIL deal and he's going through the most difficult time in his college career, considering all the expectations, and he's out there posting episodes of the show, episode in which you, a grown man, are talking shit about him, it stands to be a difficult situation for me to navigate.
Well, what you're saying is that it's a conflict of interest for a media outlet, which this show is involved in that orbit, to pay for an athlete. That's what you're saying.
No. This is not like we can cover him, and I'm just saying the internal strife that comes.
Well, I'm
those are
trying to cover him.
consequences. Those are like he's entitled to say
I
it.
started the segment
The
with
only way I know how to
But
cover.
we have a promotional deal
That's
with
what
him.
I do, Mike.
He
I'm
picked a
sorry.
fight with the fans first. So.
I started the segment by simply asking, what am I to do with a totally changed landscape?
You're at the center of it.
Of fandom where I don't actually want to criticize college kids, but once you make them professionals, that's the deal. Like, cruelty is almost baked into it in a
But
way.
they were always professionals.
But before,
But now we know.
Look, I'm not saying other people weren't saying it was my personal whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It's one person's ridiculous stand on I'm not going to do it that way. And I'm dressed as a clown today. And none of you knew who I was when I walked in. And we still haven't addressed on YouTube what I'm doing as we're making important societal points about injustice.
The Mad Hatter, but it doesn't count because you didn't do it on Depp Pageant Day. So that's what you get for doing Rogues. So one day you just show up as Edward Scissorhands.
I owe like 8 now already, and I know they're just going to call me the Mad Fatter. I've just left myself open to this.
What are you doing?
It's infuriating.
That kind of thing.
I'll spend all night out in Venice. Then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin. Not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is.
Baby one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now.
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go.
much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in poppin' tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey guys,
Need a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
It's showtime, buddy!
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Irvin and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but weddings.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stafford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What'd you say? Tom Brady, always down. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip, holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs.
Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No
No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs, the gridiron, win or go home, the ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game, Kyler's feeling shame, upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again. Do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer. I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. It's time for the good stuff. Where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. The The playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye, even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end, mantles taken, last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place.
Stefan Diggs is going to join us here in a little bit, Stugots. I want to talk to him about the heat on that field and ask him some questions about whether it's reasonable for any kinds of human beings to have 73 Josh Allen dropbacks. That's 11 more than he's ever had. That means guys in that heat with pads in 120-degree weather were running sprints all game. It has to be as tired as Stefon Diggs has ever been at the end of the game. It has to be.
I'm surprised he has the strength to join us. I mean, seriously, to do anything at this point. Both sides. I can't believe the Dolphins have to play a game again in 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It's not often that you can see heat. Like we
It's
saw
like on
heat
race cars and helmets.
Yeah, like the entire field was a mirage. I've never seen a team so affected by it during play. You'll see players cramp up occasionally. You'll see them on the sideline very clearly tired. But during the course of the game's most crucial moments, you saw Diggs go on and off that field a handful of times because he was clearly cramping up. You had two, more than one, get parenthetically heat illness in terms of their status for the game, which I don't know about you guys, but that's heat stroke. That's heat stroke.
But I'm surprised it didn't happen to a dozen guys.
What do you think? I want to ask Stefon Diggs what that locker room looked like immediately after they walked off the field and went in there. Were there people yakking? I imagine there were people getting IVs. That looked like a mass unit. You'd know, like, from how they rushed to the line, they literally had nothing left.
Couldn't you argue? You could make the argument, given all of the things with the changing climate and science and everything, and the science of what these guys do for a living, professionalism, where what we're watching now, we can all agree, right? The absurdity of he's just going to throw it to CeeDee Lamb's hand, and Cooper Rush can just do it there in one hand of open. If CeeDee Lamb can get a hand open, Cooper Rush can hit him there. That's what we're playing with. That's as tired as human beings have ever been at the end of a football game. That the Buffalo Bills just played a game, and the most tired you can be is their offense. Josh Allen dropping back 73 times. That Tua was holding Josh Allen up to comfort him. To hold him because he's like, I know how hard that was. I play in it all the time. And he whispers to him, wait till you come to the ice.
Careful with my back.
We're going to short circuit your heaters.
It has to be that game or the Dolphin-Charger game in which they carried Kellen Winslow off the field.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Kellen Winslow Sr. dragged off because he blocked a field goal.
That was a night game around the playoffs. This was September, Hard Rock Stadium.
120 degrees.
And given what's going on with the climate, I assure you, it's a lot hotter now. That was finally the national attention that we've been telling you about for the last few months.
Oh,
It
I
is
don't
so
think people,
goddamn hot.
I don't think people are paying. I think they think it's football. I don't think that analysis is happening anywhere nationally. That yes, of course they're gassed, and yes, of course South Florida is hot. But no, those are unreasonable, cruel conditions for human beings to play offense that way.
Imagine if Chris Cody just made this this take back here was, that stadium until very recently didn't have a roof. There was no shade in sight. I've been there for Marlins games where I leave swollen.
Now there's just shade on the Dolphin side.
Well,
no, it's like
there's a
weird.
little
The
sliver.
whole field is in the sun and the Bills sideline. Everyone else, and the fans that paid like thousands of dollars to sit right behind the Bills bench. I was actually I don't want to be mean laughing, but you see a bunch on just past the Bills sideline, like a bunch of Bills fans bought tickets right by their bench, and that part was just getting drilled.
Well, they want the way that the premium seating where they have those living room seats, they don't want that side on the camera because it won't present that well. So they have the hard cam on the sunny side, and often people are just opting out entirely on the sun because there's so much shade available in that venue that they are the one place, and it's unhealthy. It's genuinely dangerous.
You remember Bill Belichick brought the Patriots down here 4 days early in a failed effort just to adjust to the temperature here. It is such a factor. It did not work.
To the degree that they didn't have multiple players suffering heat stroke, and granted the game was a completely different game, and the Bills were pressing like hell and ran 90 offensive plays.
I've had friends who say that those tickets that are very expensive, no thank you. No, thank you. Even if you give them to me for free, I'd rather watch the game in my house than sit in the most expensive seats that there are at that stadium, close to the field.
You're just baking.
You're just there, and it's God with a microscope burning ants. And so many Bills fans must have gone home radioactive red.
Right. Yeah. I have seats on the opposite end on the shade, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like, this is so hot out here because of humidity alone. You couple that with heat, like skin searing heat. I can't imagine, and I'm very curious how vivid a picture Stefan Diggs can paint for us.
I know that, and obviously he puts in the most effort. And for me, I feel terrible for the linemen just because they're leaning against each other for 90 plays. But there is one gig for someone in the Buffalo Bills organization that I'm also very interested in. The entire time the Buffalo Bills went to the sideline, we see Josh Allen sat on the bench. There is someone who is carrying a canopy for all of the Bills players. They're all sat on the bench, and there's a guy whose job it is to stand there for 3 hours and hold a shade for these players while getting baked themselves.
It was a sad canopy. I don't understand why they don't put more resources into just putting a big tent over they were moving it along to players. I would just have the entire bench.
So funny, primitive. The measurements with the chains, and right behind that, we can't protect human beings in $1 billion industry from baking because they can't put $100,000 into. Hey, the human beings need to be not charred by the experience.
When you're the road team, it's on you to buy the tents to protect your players.
You're probably not even allowed to.
That's what we did with lacrosse. If it was hot during a tournament, we would buy a Florida Select tent.
You must not be allowed to.
And we would construct it and put it up ourselves, and that way, the kids would have some shade.
They should hand out umbrellas.
Right. Why would the Dolphins do that for the Bills? The Bills need to do that for the Bills.
Teams travel. Whenever the Cowboys go to cold climate areas, famously, they'd bring the heated benches. There has to be something about the structures. I would just fake an injury so I can go to the injury tent the entire time.
These guys have Ed Oliver coming out as a good teammate and just carrying a parasol for Josh Allen.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
A couple of stakes. You drive it into the grass stand. Everyone's standing under the umbrella. It's fantastic.
That has to be the worst job for an equipment staffer, though, right? You already have to carry all the heavy shit in and out of the stadium. And then on the actual game day, you got to stand there in the baking hot sun for 3 hours and 20 minutes holding a shade that's not particularly effective.
Well, which one is worse? You tell me. How would you feel about all of those uniforms going into the laundry by your hand? Like what that thing smells like, what that locker room smells like, doing that, the thousands of pounds of sweat-soaked uniform, or do they just leave it behind? Do they just undress, throw it in the dumpster, and
with all the uniforms?
Just set fire to it? And
I think Sundays weren't usable again. I do. I think they did. I think they did leave them behind for the first time ever.
There are just certain instances in life, whether it be the South Florida heat or stepping into the Dania Highlight Cigar Lounge, that you just realize you're never wearing this outfit ever again.
The melting
spend an hour in there?
pot fondue does that sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Of course, that's where I would end up.
Hibachi.
Delicious
Yeah.
fondue.
It's just you know it when you're in it. Like I can never wear this getup ever again.
Stugotz was so proud looking at the television here because Stugotz, he scurried his way up the ESPN mountain and we got as high as we could over there. But he legitimately had pride as he walked past his television and First Take had been interrupted because Michael Irvin and Stephen A. Smith had to sit there and listen to what Mina Kimes had to say about football because she knows what she's talking about.
It was fantastic. I'm so proud of her. She's so great, but she's sitting right in the middle of two monster personalities, Stephen A. and the playmaker Michael Irvin, and she is commanding and controlling the entire conversation.
Yeah, it's cool.
And they're paying attention because they know, A, she's smarter than they are. She's smarter than all of us. And B, she's more informed. And it was just cool to see that, her controlling that room, that table.
That space has been an awfully small window. Kerry Champion has complained about this. It does not allow a lot of room. My show, Stephen A. Smith, doesn't allow a lot of room for that. So I was just as happy seeing her there as you were. But the television that will carry is Preacher Man Michael Irvin, 11 straight minutes of sweating on television and licking his fingers and eating his fingers. And I am totally fine with everyone forgetting all of the past on Michael Irvin and just starting over with right now on his television career and everything else. I do worry, though, when he gets that elevated that we're ignoring pieces of his past that perhaps we should not be.
It's not easy to hold on to a TV job as long as he's had. Look how Tony Gonzalez hasn't been in television that long, and he has worked for every major network that covers football. It is hard to hang on. Jerry Rice couldn't do it. Emmitt Smith couldn't do it. You have to be a captivating TV personality because every year there is a new slew of people that want to get in media that are good, that are less removed from the game than Michael Irvin. You hear this sometimes with Troy Aikman. It's been, you think back, it's been about 25 years, and the coverages were a lot different when Troy Aikman played the game.
He hit you with a back in my day yesterday. I was watching the game and I was like, I don't know if back in my day, everyone is trying to get the most recently retired analysts. I don't know if you want to do the back in my day, this is how we played football.
If we're really doing it the right way, it's actually unbelievable that TNT's NBA show is as good as it is, considering their takes are soaked in like this 90s archaic way of playing basketball.
They don't like jump shooting teams.
It just doesn't really make sense with today's NBA. Often their takes, whether it be big men or how jump shooting teams can't win, it doesn't really make sense, but they are so individually and collectively entertaining that we bypass all of that. Football, the X's and O's are a little bit more important. You can't be so removed from the game. You have to be a transcendent personality that lasts as long as Michael Irvin has. And he showed you on ESPN today by filling 12 minutes. There ain't really anybody that brings that kind of energy.
Michael is so different for me than anybody else. He's bombastic. He's physically animated.
Great at television.
He's great.
Indisputably great at television.
Yes.
And has been since college.
Yes. Oh, gosh.
Has been since he was 18. You talk about somebody who was ready for what those lights were, wanted it, craved it, and was good from the moment he stepped on campus.
Yep.
Hell, it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen Greg Cody write was about the beginning of Michael Irvin's career at the University of Miami.
I remember I took him across the street from campus and bought him breakfast at a Denny's, which probably violated 4 or 5 NCAA rules. He was a freshman.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I know you want to get nostalgic, but Billy is fine. He sounded an alert.
Stephen A's list, top 5 NFL teams, number 5.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The Ravens.
The Ravens are number 5.
Oh my gosh.
Billy, this is going to take a minute. Do you want to go into the other room, or you can do this from here?
No, I can't miss
right here, right
I'm
now.
predicting they're at 3 or 4. I'm
predict-
predicting he doesn't go 1. I'm predicting 3 or 4.
I can't hear. It's on mute.
It's not great for what we're doing.
I knew it. I knew it.
Get out of here.
4.
What?
He's been 2 out.
He's going to put Buffalo ahead of him. He's going to. He's going to put Buffalo ahead.
Oh my
Good
God.
job to Duke.
Bay.
Here come the Bills.
You don't have to see the rest of the list, right? I mean,
I want to go back to my dad buying Michael Irvin
Packers.
Horrible
This
list.
is nonsense.
Get Mina back. We need a real football expert.
He dropped the Dookie.
Yes, doing this whole thing.
Green Bay is 3.
being
Yeah.
ridiculous
Wow.
wrestling characters on television. Mina Kimes, real journalist. Get her top 5. You know what? Get her top 5. Can you can one of you text her, please? And she's going to put the Dolphins lower than 1 as well, isn't she?
Probably.
She'll have the Seahawks 1 through 5.
What Stephen A is about to do, if he puts the Bills
He's going to.
ahead of the Dolphins.
He's going to put them at 1, I think.
Well, the Chiefs are going to be up there at 2 or 1, and so the Bills are going to be the other one, right?
No, it's going to be Eagles-Bills or Bills-Eagles, I think.
So no.
They're the Bills.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, he's going to go Philadelphia because he's from Philadelphia. That's why.
So he's got the Dolphins at 4, despite the Dolphins beating 2 other teams in the top 5. It's just the math for me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
No Chiefs in the top 5, though.
No. Lost to the Colts, man.
But we know that it's going to be the Eagles, right? Because of how proudly Philadelphia is while also being proudly New York.
I'm texting Mina right now for top 5 NFL teams.
But we're going
Should we all?
Are we going to get out on number 1? Is that not blasphemy to not wait a Stephen A. Smith list down to number 1? Should we just get out on the segment, get out on the experience? No Mad Dog. This isn't Wednesday. We don't want to do this anymore. We'll get Mina's expertise. It's going to be more journalistically sound. Excellent. We'll do that next.
There's nothing quite like playoffs. The playoffs. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. Never is afraid. Eyes in his face. The chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs. It's the playoffs. The playoffs. It's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's mentor of decade teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified GOAT.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
Stugots, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, Greg, just one time. I mean, 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out! I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to Red Grange. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Oh, that's right. No retractable roofs. I'm talking frozen tundras and ice bowls. No Van Brooklyn. That's why they call it football weather. Bud Grant and the Purple People Eaters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. Tank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Bop. That kind of thing.
I'll spend all night out in Venice and make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Justin Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl.
much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey guys, Kyle Brandt. You gonna shotgun a beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
It's showtime, buddy.
We are joined by the chief ball officer. We feel for him. It felt deeply cruel and unpleasant to have him continue to run routes on 73 dropbacks when the South Florida sun makes it 120 degrees. Stefan Diggs has lived. He is here. The torso, part of him is here. I don't know about the rest of him. Have you ever been as tired at the end of a football game as the one you just played? And thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me. First off, I appreciate you guys. And hell no, I have never been that tired in my life. I had a full body cramp after the game, full body cramp. I've never experienced that as well. I probably laid on that table and I was like, yeah, this is it for me. So I'm here though. Here I am. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, but you're
shocked that
you're
you're
a
here.
badass.
Yeah.
I was watching what you were doing, and I'm like, does anybody know how hard this is? This man has to. this is not. No, I'm not kidding. That full body cramps. Take us through what that is, because I believe that your team played in inhumane conditions on Sunday.
Yeah. I think it's set up that way because if you ever notice on the Miami field, the Miami side is under the shade. Majority of the Miami side is under the shade, and our side is in the sun that turns those grapes into raisins. And it was real fun out there. I mean, full body cramp is when your hamstrings, your quads, your arms, your stomach, all that good stuff cramps up. So it's just part of the game.
Wait a minute. It is not just part of the game. No, wait a minute. You just described.
You've never experienced that before.
Stefan, you just said, is this it for me? You have never felt at the end of the game. This is it. I am dying.
I was a little concerned. I had this photo I had the trainers take. They had an IV in both my arms, and I've never had an IV in both my arms at one time. I told you I was a little concerned. I was like, yeah, this is it for me. If this is it, we're gonna go out on top.
Okay, so I couldn't believe the amount. Oh, you didn't though. That's right. You didn't.
Ouch!
Because he short armed that pass. He had only 61 bullets in the arm, and he needed to have the 62nd one.
Yeah, it happened.
What was the locker room like? Can you explain to us? It's got to be bodies all over the place. It's got to smell worse than anything you've ever smelled.
Yeah, it was definitely guys. Everybody was tired, but it was like shit. Like guys went down, and then we had some guys step up. It was just like this. Guys were really fighting out there. You had an appreciation, and it was no moral victories in there. We wanted to come out with a win, but we did come out. We did come out with what we have is a real team, a fighting team, and a team that's we ain't gonna lay down. At least we're gonna give you everything we got. So it's just some minor miscues and some detailed stuff.
You have to draft tomorrow to win on Sunday, and the South Florida Sun is on the draft board. You can have all the players, or you can have the Sun that you played in on
the Sun. Just the Sun.
You would take the Sun over Josh Allen, yes.
I'm putting that Sun against anybody but Josh. Josh is a little ugly.
Goodell hugging the Sun.
Stefan, have you watched the video of your offensive coordinator, of Kenny Dorsey's reaction to Josh Allen not being able to throw it 5 more yards?
No, I was like this. When I watched the video, I was like this. Damn, like I personally love the video just because, like, as a player, you gotta love it from your OC, the guy that calls the plays and the guy that puts a lot into this football thing to care. Some guys pack their papers up in a folder and say, all right, well, get them next time. Like, nah, like that type of energy and that type of love and support, that's what you want. I love the video. I don't know if you didn't love the video, you're probably not a football fan. So it's something that I like.
But if we're speaking honestly, right, you guys fight that way at the end of the game. And Josh makes a great play to get out of a sack. He should have been sacked. He's he's really strong. And then you don't get out of bounds. That's what Dorsey's frustration was about. The time ran out on you guys and you did not get the field goal. So who made the mistake? Is there a mistake or is it just we lose?
No, I think it's we lose because Lil Dirty was trying to get out of bounds. And when he realized he couldn't get out of bounds, he tried to cut it up. And then, like, I think when he was walking back to spot the ball, 15 tried to bump him. And I tried to bump 15 because he was trying to bump Lil Dirty to knock some time out. So it's like, it's no one man's fault. It was just a minor detail.
Isaiah McKenzie's dirty.
He is a little bit.
Yeah, Lil Dirty tried. My bad for quoting. That's Lil Dirty. But Isaiah McKenzie tried, man. He was trying to get out of bounds, bro. He was trying to be smart.
What
I got to add context to my names too. Like y'all don't really know the names.
But put us in the locker room. Who gets the worst beating? Do you feel worse than anybody, or does everyone have full body cramps?
No, everybody felt bad. I don't know not one person who said they didn't feel something out there. So it was just like shit. We fought long, we fought hard. We just didn't come out with a dub. You know, I don't think anybody, you know, nobody feels like we have a bad team in no regard. We have a good football team. It was just like some things didn't go our way. We just got to be tightened up on the details.
Are the Dolphins better than you are?
A better football team? They were this past Sunday when they won. Are they in the grand scheme of things? I guess only time will tell. We'll see.
That's very well done, Stefan. Because I know how much confidence you've got. Like I know you know how good you are, but you don't want any of those headlines until you're ready to prove it. Like you just
the sound bites are good. I'm good at it though. Like you can throw that stuff at me. I'm gonna out there in the heat.
Are you surprised Tua was allowed back in the game?
I actually didn't see the video until after the game. In the game, I was like this. Oh damn, Tua's out, and I didn't know. I was hot as shit, so like obviously I barely know what was going on. So I was like, oh, you didn't even know he was out. After the game, I watched the video, and I was a little like, damn, like he must hit his head pretty hard. But I'm telling you, part of it being you're in the heat and you hit your head against the ground. It's like it's a combination of shit. A lot of shit happening.
Do you believe that it's his head and not his back, or do you believe them when they say it was his back and the NFLPA is out here saying that we want the concussion protocol investigated?
Yeah. I'm on no one side. Who's to say I'm not a back specialist or a head specialist? You know, I can only watch the video and be like, this damn, that's a very.
You're a BS specialist. I mean, come on, man.
He's so good at it.
What do I know, right? What do I know? He's out there.
Stefan, the NFL's been wondering for 2+ years now, so I want to get it from you, an eyewitness expert. How good is Tua?
He's a good player. It just, I feel like he gets a lot of hate because he's a left-handed quarterback. You know, left-handed quarterbacks are special. They are special. He can do some things that some right-hand quarterbacks can't do. People aren't a fan of. You know, I like Tua. He went to school with my little brother. I think he's a good player. I think he's a winner.
Stefan Diggs is among the hundreds of NFL players in DraftKings' newest game, Rainmakers Football, the next generation of fantasy football. Rainmakers features digital player cards for fans to collect and compete in weekly contests for up to $1 million in various prizes. Check out DraftKings Marketplace and Rainmakers Football to build, play, and win today. Stefan, are you wondering why Dan is dressed like a clown today at all? Or
no, I wasn't concerned. That's normal, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, but I was looking at the weather on this view, on Chris's view. It doesn't look like the weather's too hot there.
No.
We got a storm bearing down on us a little bit. They just closed schools for tomorrow. Yeah.
You guys make sure you get out of there in time. Now I'm concerned about you.
Thank you for your concern. I wanted to ask you because, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble here. I really do want to understand the distinctions being made, and you're one of the guys who can navigate all this stuff. So you're doing a sponsorship here with DraftKings that is gambling being normalized. You are doing a commercial with Kevin Hart and everyone else, and Calvin Ridley's sitting out a year because he did a parlay. When that news landed, like how, as someone, you don't want anyone messing with your money, and how do you navigate all of these things as a businessman and as an adult professional who is interested in maximizing fame and platform?
I think it's definitely something you got to put in perspective. And it's weird, and I don't want to put this in this kind of context, but it's I feel like it was something that was made with parameters, and you got to fall in those parameters at that time frame. When certain things are being made legal, I don't particularly know the details of betting or not betting, but I know there's certain parameters around it and your involvement and to what extent. So I try not to teeter the edge. I try to just fall in line with, you know, what we're allowed and what we're not allowed to do, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I try to stay aligned, you know. If I'm not, you guys will be the first to not know.
Thank you. How has the Buffalo experience been for you? Because you have gone from, I don't know if perhaps it feels like you've done what Tyreek Hill did, where you went from one place where you were a vital cog, but perhaps not the biggest star on the team, even though perhaps you should have been, to now going to Buffalo, making a quarterback an MVP candidate, and everyone can see how good you are at this.
I mean, it's been one of those, like, I keep saying it's like that perfect part in the movie. I'm just waiting for it to, you know, to transpire, to come into fruition. I've just been riding these things out, trying not to ride the roller coaster too much because it's been so much good. You know, throughout this process, I feel like Bills Mafia welcomed me. Everybody knows Bills Mafia. They go crazy. I've never been a part of a fan base like this, and just my team. You know, I love this team. I feel like it was a blessing, more of a blessing for them to welcome me than to me be here. You know, I'm really thankful for that. I can hang my hat on that. They mess with me over here. I like them. over here.
Stefan, getting back to how hot it was on Sunday, did you feel bad for the people that had to carry that very pathetic shade that got you a little bit of shade during the game on Sunday?
Oh my God, out there, it's a real hostile environment. I don't recommend it to anybody because if you're a guy holding the shade, you're going to get a hard time. I think one of my trainers, his name is Tabani, right? I'm in the huddle and he like, you know, I'm just walking, getting in the huddle, and he like probably like one of those incidental bumps, like one of those bumps like where you like kind of like knock a guy off. And I felt like I was somewhere where I'm not supposed to be, and somebody bumped me and I got real mad. I said, "Come on, Tabani, like, come on, I'm tired of shit. You bumping me and shit." So I feel like it's just a very hostile environment. Everybody shake hands and, you know, hug afterwards. But out there, I feel bad for anybody that's just in the heat.
Can you explain to us, Stefano, for people who do not understand, because I'm not kidding you, and Stugotz noticed this on Sunday, that I felt bad for you for what you were what you were physically trying to do.
All of you.
Well, but you were hands on knees. You were. I don't know if you've ever, like you say, you've never been that tired. You've certainly never shown anybody that you're not supposed to show people that you're that beat. So explain to us, when you think you're dying, the full body cramps and all of that, is that the worst of it, or did it feel worse before that? Because you're drinking plenty of water, right?
Nah, it feels worse afterwards, especially when you lose shit. Like, you did all that and still tired. I'm still tired after the game. My body's still gonna be hurting, but it's just like during the game, it's kind of like I compare it to going into the deep end of the water and not necessarily knowing how to swim. Like, you know how to tread water, you know how to stay alive, but you might not necessarily know how to swim. And not everybody is willing to go in the deep end. So being out there with your team, and you know what I'm saying, that kind of gives you some hope. Like, shit, I ain't out here by myself. So it's just like, that's just part of the process.
The Dolphins have to play Thursday. I'm wondering, if you had to play Thursday, could you?
Hell yeah. It's different. You need 2 days to at least replenish your body, but it's definitely going to be, it's tough. Is it back in Miami again?
No,
Cincinnati.
No, they're going to Cincinnati.
Shit. It's not going to be as hot, but Cincinnati gets hot too. So, I mean, I think you just put it in perspective of shit. They got to go. You got to go right now. You know what I'm saying? Those games that get up on you fast, make sure you hydrate, because you know, that'll help you a little bit.
When you look at skill guys, collections of skill guys in the league, what are the groups that you like the best? Because you went from one that was plenty strong with you to one that is still very strong without you. But when I say skill guys, I'm not even counting the quarterback in there. I'm talking about the guys around the quarterback.
Mean like wide receiver groups?
Yeah, wide receivers and running backs. Just what you believe to be your offense hadn't had a 3rd and 10 until Sunday. The third quarter, you guys hadn't had a 3rd and 10. That doesn't that seems crazy to me. How well you guys are playing offense.
We have one of those for sure. As far as like at the quarterback position, we have a lot of talent, like crazy talent. That's special talent. We got some guys on the outside that can win, especially in the middle. You know, Isaiah McKenzie, Jameson Crowder, Gabriel Davis. We got Dawson Knox. We even got a fullback that can get open. So, and Motor Singletary. Like, we got a lot of guys. I think we're up there with talent. I feel like who else is up there with talent? Cincinnati has some great guys on the outside, a great quarterback play. Justin Hibbert is playing balls out as usual. He throws a hell of a ball. it's nothing new. I feel like Tom Brady makes something happen. And Patrick Mahomes still slinging the ball around at a high clip. I feel like we're up there with guys that are explosive, but it's a lot of guys out there. Even Miami. I mean, I feel like they still had an explosive day. They got some receivers that can run extremely fast. So I'm a fan.
Is Josh Allen the most confident person you know?
He's got to be top 3. I know some confident guys, including myself, but Josh Allen gives you hope. Like from your quarterback position, what you want from your quarterback is not only when something is there to make it happen, but when it's not there, I need you to make something happen that's not there. Like I've seen him do that on more than one occasion. I've seen him, that quarterback that you can say, shit, I can call any play and I got some confidence. He'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know what I'm saying? He as a wide receiver, I feel like he gives me hope. And I say like, shit, we ain't never out of a game. We always got a chance.
Did you have any questions about going to Buffalo and playing with him? Because my analysis on him was terrible. I said that he was a terrible quarterback when I saw him throw to a double-covered fullback in a playoff game, and I didn't think they could coach the inaccuracy out of him or the recklessness out of him. What are you seeing that I didn't see? Because early on, I would not have trusted my career to that quarterback.
I played with 5 quarterbacks, I think, in Minnesota. And something taught me early on when I was with Teddy. Teddy was a quarterback that made a lot of good decisions, and you got to find what works for that quarterback. If the quarterback likes to bomb, like to throw his bombs all day, man, you got to be ready to catch long passes. Or like I had one stint in my career in Minnesota where I was one of the best long catchers. Like, but I'm like this. I'm just doing what the job entails. Whatever the quarterback likes to do, I'm involved. Like so going in, like. I never saw what everybody else saw in him. Like I saw a young quarterback that had a strong arm, but he was a winner. Like they beat the shit out of us. Excuse my language. I don't know if this is for a kids show, but they beat the crap out of us in Minnesota, and I was like, damn, he is a winner. Like that's one thing I took from watching the game. Like I don't know, at 17, he a winner. I seen him jumping over linebackers and stuff like that. I was like, shit, like he's not bad, but. It was later on when they thought about trading me during the season, and I was like, I don't know. Give it if we're gonna do anything, it's probably after the season. So, I mean, as a player, I was like, this shit. What I want for myself, I can see it over there. I see a young quarterback with a lot of potential. They had just went to the playoffs. We played lights out, and I was like, shit, we damn near the same team. We both lost in the first round of the playoffs. Why not? And I rolled the dice and said, I'm betting that I could get the best out of them.
There are 2 questions, Stefon, this show has been asking for about 10 years. Are the Raiders are the Raiders for real? You don't need to answer that one, but this one you can answer. Is Kirk Cousins good?
Yes. The Raiders are for real too, though. When Derek Carr is hot, he's hot. Yeah. Devontae Adams is still one of the best.
They can't be for real at 0-3.
0-3, though.
Stefon, no, that's
listen, hear me out. How many games are in this season?
There's 17 games. 17 games in the season.
If I only lose 3. I mean, we had a great year.
All right.
You got them reeling off 14 straight,
14 straight. You got Stefon Diggs predicts the Raiders will win 14 straight.
Positive affirmation. And Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you've seen his success and how well he can throw the ball consistently, he's a good quarterback. Everybody has those things not going right, but as far as like getting put in the right position, him being able to throw the ball, you've seen him excel at it. You know what I'm saying? Multiple times on multiple occasions.
Fill in some blanks for me here. The best, you're not allowed to pick yourself here. The best route, because you can't. The best route runner in the NFL is blank. The best route runner not named Stefon Diggs.
Diggs Stefon. All right, hold on. Let me think.
Well played.
Let me think. I got, but it's tough. Like I got a nice little group that's really, really good.
That's okay, but I'm pinning you down. If you want to name all of them, that's fine. We got 3 minutes with you left, and we want to make sure to get the DraftKings plug in there.
Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I don't want to forget anybody.
The fastest receiver in the NFL is blank.
Tyreek Hill.
Okay, the best cornerback in the NFL is blank.
Ooh, that's Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, good
well
answer.
Played.
The best cornerback who is not in my family is blank.
Oh, what happened? What'd you say?
The best cornerback who is not in my family and plays in the NFL is blank.
Come on, no.
Okay, very well put. Okay. Tell us about.
Sound like Billy there.
Tell us about what you're doing with DraftKings. Tell us about the promotion and why it is that people need to be associated with what you're doing here.
It's basically the new fantasy football, combining NFTs and fantasy football with your daily fantasy, and they have Rainmakers competition weekly. Can win up to $1 million in prizes and even some cash and some merch. So you should sign up. It's basically the new fantasy football.
You can't give one corner the respect. You can't give.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can give a lot of them. I can give a lot of them respect. But y'all not gonna like my answer. I pick my teammates. Y'all don't want me to pick my teammates.
And your brother.
Well, because you're avoiding the headlines and you're doing that well.
Exactly.
And you're
but I know I do
than
respect a lot of guys. Jalen Ramsey is one of the best corners. Xavier Howard is one of the best corners. Marshawn Lattimore. We argue all the time in my room as far as like best corners in the league. And I say like, look, it's not really to say it's the best guy because it's 1A, 1B. Like those guys are CB1. They're not like, you can't just be like, okay, this guy's better than this guy. Why? What makes him that much better? Shit.
DraftKings' newest game, Rainmakers Football. It's fantasy football. Everybody here is doing it.
Can we have you on every week, Stefon?
Yes, it was good talking to
I know,
you,
like,
sir.
this is a good show. Like, if I'm on this show again, I'm gonna have to start. I need my own mic. I need my own setup because
All
I
right,
don't
we'll
like
send it to you.
Done.
We'll
Next
send
week?
it to you next week. We'll make a deal off
we go.
air. See you later. Thank you, sir.
Later.
Thank you, man.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's best.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Beth. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Irvin and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but earnings.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stafford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What you say, Tom Brady, always down. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip, holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs, so grab a beer, I hope shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds.
I have not gotten any information from Chris Cody and Chris Whittingham about Heat Media Day. Was there a lot of fat shaming of Kyle Lowry? Were a lot of people commenting on Jimmy Butler's hair choices that he says are not going into the season with him? What were the things, the takeaways? We'll get to Mina's top 5 power rankings in a second because she sent them to both Chris Cody and Stugotz, but Stugotz doesn't know if number 1 is number 5 or number 5 is number 1.
She didn't clarify. I mean,
so
it's pretty standard.
As it relates media day, for me, the two main takeaways were just sort of the addressing head on of the main criticisms of Central Heat figures, namely Kyle Lowry and Bam Adebayo. Chris actually did so very creatively in an interview you will hear, if not later this week, then very soon, in terms of, hey, you weren't aggressive enough in the playoffs. And Chris dressed it up very well, but Kyle Lowry, it's very much he was called out as being out of shape by Pat Riley in his end-of-season press conference. It was very direct. Kyle Lowry has not addressed it until now, and you can tell he was very reticent to do so. He was very unhappy being there.
It was an energy. Every player has walking around with a bounce of like, first day of school, who do you need? Like, Dedmon is just doing like a stand-up set. Like, who needs a quote from me? What do you need, a little video here? He's just loving it. And then Kyle walked in, and it's just a totally different energy.
I would say it's been reported that the family issue that Kyle Lowry was dealing with last year is very much still an issue right now. So additionally, outside of being called out by Pat Riley, he's very clearly dealing with some personal stuff.
There is a humanity at the center of Kyle Lowry at the end of his career, a borderline Hall of Fame career. It's
definitely Hall of Famer, yeah.
I think
well, everyone gets into that Hall of Fame.
It is a
yeah, which is why I'm doing that. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm in the Hall
unnecessary.
of Fame.
Unnecessary.
I'm just pointing it out.
Ryan
That's
checks
all.
that Chris Cody had to cash.
You're not in the Hall of Fame.
I'm in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Naismith. Springfield.
Congrats.
Look it up.
Can I admit that's the main reason I didn't want to go to He Media Day, also NFL Monday, but I didn't want to go there because I didn't want to have to face Kyle Lowry because of
Is
the
that right?
criticism.
You did this in Tahoe. Does he know who you are?
I don't think he knows who you are.
Well, that's fine.
I mean, he was standing right next to us.
No,
He
it's,
didn't-
it's fine, but I don't want to suffer the consequences
still
for things that
awkward.
I've said.
Of your of your cowardice.
Who the hell wants that?
He probably thinks Dan said it.
Well, that's the thing that
Yeah,
always
that's usually
ends
how
up
that
on
works.
me. Yes,
Yeah.
I fat shamed him. Yes.
Sorry about
No,
that.
well, you keep saying fat shame. That's not what we're doing. No, that's certainly not. I know that that's what Twitter has done. Not coming out here on a microphone saying Kyle Lowry is fat. I'm saying the exact same thing. Like, very clearly, he wasn't in the same condition that he was to start the season. He suffered injuries. He's an older player. I mean, that's a fact of the matter. The head of the team took him to task about it, and very clearly some of that messaging landed because if you saw some of his workout photos, he was in much better condition.
But there is a humanity at the center of this that I remind you guys beyond, okay, fine, don't make it fat shaming or endorsed fat shaming by Pat Riley because that's what we're doing. Also, Kyle Lowry, paid professional borderline Hall of Famer, had an issue in his family all of last year that made him miss several games that we never found out what that was about. And my guess is whatever his energy is, probably doesn't feel great playing basketball right now, having to come in and out of this franchise, questioning your commitment on body and availability because you're dealing with family stuff and we need you to be healthy during the playoffs because the machine comes with a lot of pressure and you're the final piece and you were doubted in Toronto and Toronto loves you, but you're 85 million here and we need you to be in 6% body fat shape that everyone on this team is.
Well,
and it can be hard.
Well, I think they very clearly need him to be available, and he wasn't available. So you look at the evidence suggested by last season. What can Kyle Lowry do to make himself a little bit more available? And that's aside from the personal issues that kept him away from the regular season. During the postseason, it was physical limitations, and you try to, if you want the grounds to be as fertile as humanly possible for his fitness and conditioning to be right, so he's not injured and unavailable to the team, they have standards when it comes to their conditioning that Kyle Lowry, according to the head of the team, did not commit to. It's as simple as that. We had this discussion about college athletes and NIL, and it's a matter of professionalism, and here comes the criticism. If you're a professional athlete and availability is what is mainly required of you, you're trying to be in the best possible condition to be available for your team.
They were a bounce away last year. How do you imagine that it went over with Pat Riley? Kyle Lowry's.
I mean, I don't have to imagine
availability.
When has Pat Riley ever done that?
I mean, he does it. He will do that to guys who are out of shape. He's got an exacting standard from a different time.
Right, but
he did it to Wade.
Right. He did during the season.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the postseason wrap up. All right, when you're hyper analyzing Max Struess's heel as one of the differences as to why you're not in the NBA Finals. I mean, Kyle Lowry just wasn't there, and he was publicly called out by Pat Riley. Kyle Lowry said that he heard of the comments. Trust me, Dan's covered Pat Riley for a long time. Pat Riley, there was nothing said in that press conference that Pat Riley didn't say directly to Kyle Lowry.
It was sanitized. Let's get to Billy's saddest time of the week, or maybe it's his best time of the week because he gets to release it into the sky and not think about it for another week.
Yeah, but he starts thinking about next week right now.
Yeah, it's never off my mind.
I felt, though, that Tomlin, are you going to go back to last Thursday? Do you get the Thursday game as part of your Useless Sound? We'll find out together. Let's see.
You know, we got better today, and thankfully we got the results we wanted. You don't always get those results when you want them.
Saw a lot of open green grass and no Packers, and I could turn a 40-yard gain into 18 better than anyone in the NFL.
Did you get an injection for the game?
You know, I think however I take care of my body, I think that's one of those things I'd like to keep private.
So, is that a yes or no?
I said I'd like to keep it private.
What did you make of Carson overall?
Well, I think he could have played better.
I know it's so cliche and whatnot, but it really is that 1-0 mentality.
That's how you take steps, because that's a kind of a piece of accountability.
You really don't take any positives out of a loss, but a loss.
Not the end of the world, but at the same time, there's an urgency.
Looking at the glass half full, that's what you would say.
I'm not in that mindset.
We're more concerned about getting better each and every week, and that's this league.
Man, it was a full team effort there.
It was really a team win. I think it was offense, defense, special teams all working together.
Teams win football games.
Talent had nothing to do with the way we shot ourselves in the foot.
For the game, there was an ESPN report that you guys were.
That was a bullcrap report, okay? Just so everybody understands it.
And when we needed to get it, we got it.
If I'm running it, it's usually not a good thing.
I just didn't want to quit on my team.
Best thing we can do is stack wins. Winning is learned, and we got to feel that as a locker room.
We believed in each other. We believed in ourselves.
If you can't slow down Chubb, man, you can't beat this group.
The formula is not hard itself.
We got to gel all together. I mean, it starts with me.
Right now, it feels good to win. That's what I'll tell you.
When you can learn from wins, it's better than learning from losses.
Our backs were against the wall.
The only thing that pulls you out of it is hard work.
There is no style points in this league, but there are ways of playing more complete games, and that's what we're hunting up.
You know, sometimes you play basketball, sometimes you play baseball, obviously football, it's back and forth.
Sometimes you have to put your own goals and everything ahead or behind the team.
I believe in what we're doing, but we don't have the results yet.
It's fun for me to coach football, period.
Yeah, once the kickoff happened, it was football again.
We are absolutely obsessed with the football.
I wasn't looking to be encouraged. I was looking to win the game.
I've probably read too many CIA fiction thrillers.
It's okay, here we go. Let's try to get the next one, whatever it takes. And it just takes what it takes.
Obsessed. I like thinking of new ways to describe what is your addiction to the football. Is it an obsession? I also think we should start counting style points in the NFL. I think we should make a rule where America gets to vote who won on style points.
Mm-hmm. And in the Broncos 49ers game, the answer would be nobody.
America loses. Top five, according to Mina Kimes. This is big. This is giant here. Stugotz doesn't know whether he's got the list or his phone upside down. So let's go.
Just confirm if you got the same list so far.
Okay.
Number 5, Chris Cody.
Number 5, the Baltimore Ravens.
Either the Ravens or the Bills. I'm not certain. The Baltimore Ravens.
Now we know what number 1 is.
Well, it could be 5. Are yours numbered, just out of curiosity?
No, but it's very clear that the Baltimore Ravens aren't the best team in the league.
I wouldn't be so certain. The Ravens could be the best team in the NFL.
Let's see how it plays out.
Right.
No, you ruined it.
We're
It's
not
over.
certain. So let's see how it plays
we
out.
are certain.
I could be right, though.
Hold on. There's still the excitement of number 4.
Yeah.
Right.
You just ruined the whole game.
Who do you have it for?
Who do you have it for? Yeah.
We now know that the Bills are number 1.
Number 4, the Miami Dolphins. question.
Can I just interrupt by sharing my favorite moment of the show when Stefan Diggs casually referred to Isaiah McKenzie as Lil Dirty? And,
it's the oldest this show has ever sounded.
And Dan just goes, he's dirty, and Stugots adds and helps him out. Yeah, a little bit.
So I either have the Dolphins here or the Eagles. I'm not certain. Yeah.
I legitimately thought that I didn't even know it was a nickname. I thought he was accusing him of being a little dirty.
No, Dan, that was evident. And then Stugots helped you. Yeah, but very clearly just a little bit dirty.
It's the oldest this show has ever sounded. Luckily, Stugots and I are going to have the same number 3.
Well, I'm not so certain.
Can you not be certain?
Well, neither of them have been right so far. So
number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left. You're the